Hey guys, if you're interested in any figures or figure accessories that I have currently up for sale, go ahead and send me an email. Just go to my channel page on YouTube and go to the About section, click on that, and you'll be able to get in touch with me. How's it going, my fellow collectors? I am back again with another Hot Toys figure review. And this time, we're going to be taking a look at the Hot Toys Black Suit VGM 56 from the video game Spider-Man 2 on the PS5. Now, I was on the fence about buying this figure. When it was announced that they were going to make it, I didn't jump on it right away. Mainly because I was waiting for them to announce the classic comic book version of the black suit, the symbiote suit. Because I knew, just like with the first game, that Hot Toys was going to make most of the suits. But we all know how that turned out. They decided to make that Hono or Honyo version of the black suit, which is basically an all fabric suit. But to me, it looks really cheap. Because that's what it is. I mean, it doesn't really come with much, and you can totally tell it's a fabric design. I mean, if you want to make Peter Parker look like after he rejected the symbiote, because he did make a fabric black suit that looked like the symbiote, but it wasn't. I guess you could go for that version if that's what floats your boat, but I wanted it to look like it was a symbiote suit. So I was very disappointed when Hot Toys decided to make that version. Instead of making a comic book style Spider-Man 2 costume version, they decided to go with that. It's possible that they could still make it, but I don't know. I don't know if they will. That's why I decided to buy this instead. And luckily they were still available. Even the special edition version. That's why I decided to get it recently. Alright, so let's start getting into the review, and we're going to start the first category off with the source information. So, what can I tell you guys? I was expecting a lot more from this video game, given that the first one was such an epic game, but this one, not so much. Mainly a lot to do with Disney's political agenda, the wokeness. They even went so far as to change the Spanish language. So if you were to buy a copy of the game in Mexico or in any other region of South America, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the political stuff of this, but they actually did that. They changed the Spanish language. Anyway, other than that, I'm not really interested in the character of Miles Morales. I just don't like that character. And then he has the exact same superhero name as Peter Parker's Spider-Man. I mean, props to you guys if you like Miles Morales and all that. More power to you, you know. But for me, I just don't like him. So when they went that whole route of splitting the game and either playing as Peter Parker or Miles Morales, I just wanted to play the whole thing as Peter Parker. To be honest with you guys. Just like they did in the first game, that's how I wanted it. But that's just me. As for the positive aspects of the game, they did do the Venom character justice. That was 100% awesome. Even though that it's not accurate to how it's portrayed in the comic books, Insomniac's interpretation of the string of events was really good. I gotta give him props. And then the whole part where you play as Venom in the game, I was speechless. I was blown away. I can't wait until they do a solo Venom game, because that's going to be awesome. And then you got Peter Parker's relationship with the symbiote and how it tried to bond with him. Oh man, I loved that. That was awesome. In the story, that was very accurate to the comic books. That is actually the relationship that I wanted to be in the Venom movie with Tom Hardy. I wanted the symbiote to corrupt Eddie Brock's mind. I wanted the symbiote to make him evil, subtly without him knowing. Basically the way it did with Peter Parker. That's how I wanted it to be, but instead we got this marriage kind of relationship bickering back and forth. It's like a comedy, and they basically act like a married couple. That didn't do it for me. I hated that. That's why I wanted it to be more how it was portrayed in this video game. If they would have done that, the movie would have been 10 times better. But anyway, as for the source information, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Because it could have been way better. If you just keep all the political stuff out of it, it definitely would have been 10 times better. Alright, so that does it for the source information. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of packaging. And as usual, we're going to blow through it, guys. At the top, you get the Marvel logo and the Spider-Man 2 logo. And of course, since this is the special edition, you get the Sideshow exclusive sticker on the box. And front and center, you get a picture of the Spider-Man black-suited character. Yeah, it's the character from the game. I don't believe it's the figure itself. It's pretty cool. He's got his spider legs out. And then you get these little symbiote designs on the four corners of the front of the box. On the bottom, you get the Hot Toys logo, and it says Video Game Masterpiece, 1/6 scale Peter Parker Black Suit Collectible Figure, VGM 56. And then on one side, there's a continuation from the image on the front. You see more of the spider legs and the symbiote tentacles. They're spreading from the front. And in the middle, it says the same thing that it says on the front. You also get this little grid pattern that you see there. It looks like a spider web. And then the Hot Toys logo on the bottom. And then on the other side, it's pretty much the same thing. And then on the top, in the background, you get the spider logo on the back. And then again, the logos of the Marvel and Spider-Man 2. And on the bottom, it's the same thing. And then when we turn it to the back, again, you get the Marvel and Spider-Man 2 logos and the same title that's written on the front. And then you get your warnings and choking hazards that nobody really reads. And on the right, you get the Hot Toys logo and all the distributors and stores that sell Hot Toys products. And then on the bottom, you get the barcode and the Disney quality sticker of approval. And below that, you get another Marvel logo. And that's about it. And once we take the sleeve off, we get a window showing the figure and all of its accessories. And then we also get more symbiote designs here on all four corners of the window, which is pretty cool. We also get this grainy video footage imaging of the black symbiote suit. We also see some digital lines added in as well. And you also see a little white spider there too. And then you get the title of the same thing that it says on the sleeve of the box. And then another design on the bottom, which looks like it's all digitized. Very psychedelic. And then on the other side is pretty much the same thing. And then on the back, some more psychedelic designs here. Grainy video footage type design. You see a blurry image of the black symbiote suit in the background. And then it says Marvel's Spider-Man 2 Peter Parker Black Suit 1/6 scale collectible figure VGM 56. And that's pretty much it for the packaging. Yeah, I like it. It's a pretty interesting choice of design. I don't think they've ever done this before. So yeah, I like it. So for the packaging, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Pretty solid. Alright, so that does it for the packaging. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of likeness. And I'm going to be straight with you guys. This head sculpt is a real disappointment. I was expecting more, but they really messed it up. I do like the design, the gloss, and some of the paintwork. It's just the eyes, man. You can totally tell that the paint was sprayed on. It's so obvious. And with figures and statues, you're not supposed to be able to distinguish where they've been painted. It's supposed to look real. But with this, the paint apps were really sloppy. You can't really tell from the video, but when you look at the eyes in real life, you can tell that it's sprayed on. Basically everywhere where it has white, not just the eyes, but even the spider, for example. We'll get to that when we get to the outfit. Right now we're focusing on the likeness, so the eyes, I just hate how they painted them. It's really bad. Like when I was looking at photos and videos of other collectors who own this figure, it looked really good, I loved it. It looked like it was from straight out of the game, but when I got it in hand, I was just so let down because like I said, it just looks like it was painted. It was so obvious. Oh, man. Yeah, it's just sloppy paintwork. So shame on Hot Toys for doing something like this. It definitely could have been better. And not by a little, by a lot. And I don't know if I'm the only one who's mentioned this, because I haven't seen any other collectors say anything about the head sculpt. But yeah, having it in hand, I'm sorry guys, but it's just not very good. So for the likeness, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 10. And before we move on, let me just show you guys this pose. I'm sure you all know where I got this from. The Secret Wars comic book cover. Real nice. Alright, so that does it for the likeness. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Okay, so now we've made it to the category of outfit. And for this category, I'm kind of divided. You can see all the details, it's great. It almost looks like it came straight out of the video game. When you see all this glossy finish, you can see what almost looks like muscle fibers, but it's not really. And yeah, it almost looks alive. That's what I was kind of hoping for with the Hono black suit, or Honyo. All the little details and everything, it's really awesome. And then you also see some seams or divisions in the suit. Panels, I guess you would call them. So that's cool. And then you got the chevrons on the back of the hands. And then we move on to the white spider symbol. This is where I get disappointed. They made the design great and everything how it's supposed to look. It is raised. It looks good how it's supposed to look. But the paint apps, man, that's where it falls apart. It's just bad. Like, you can totally tell it was painted. The reason that I'm making such a big issue about the paint apps, guys, is because this is Hot Toys we're talking about. They're not amateurs. They've been doing this stuff for decades now. So there shouldn't be any excuse why it looks like this. It just breaks the realism of the figure. And then it's worse because right here in the back you have those plugins, which in my opinion shouldn't have even been there in the first place. It should have just been a normal back. And then it gets even worse because of the head sculpt. So just, oh man, I don't know. I don't know what happened. But one thing's for sure, they definitely could have done 10 times better than this. So if it wasn't for that, this figure would be awesome. So the outfit is going to get a 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I just can't look past those bad paint apps. Alright, so that does it for the outfit. Now we're going to move on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of articulation. It has your typical Hot Toys Spider-Man articulation. Anything you could think of that Spider-Man can do acrobatically, this figure can pretty much do it. But there are limitations. But as usual, we'll start our way from the head and work our way all the way down to the feet. So the head is on a ball and socket joint. It can swivel 360 all the way around. It can look up really good. As you can see right here, he's looking up really good. And he looks down pretty good too. And he can tilt from side to side as well. One thing I will say is that be careful when you're positioning the head down or up. Be careful it doesn't leave indentations on the neck. If you have it posed looking down for an extended period of time, there is danger of that. So be careful with that, guys. That's pretty common with any Hot Toys Spider-Man figure. That has happened to me a couple times with the classic suit, for example. If I leave his head tilted, looking downward, for example, for an extended period of time, it'll leave a little indentation. But if you take him out of that pose and make him look straight, The suit should heal itself over time. Moving on down, he does have shoulder shrugs, and you can move the arms almost the full 360, but it is hindered by the suit. I haven't tried to rotate his arms over his head. I don't think he can do that. I haven't tried, but I don't think I want to try because I think that would damage the suit. It is stitched, so I'm afraid it will rip if I try. And it also has butterfly joints. I think that's it for the shoulders. And when you raise the arms outward, they are on ratchets, so that's good. That's pretty typical of any new Hot Toys Spider-Man figure. And he can do a T-pose, pretty much 90 degrees outward. And he does have double bended elbows. And it has typical Hot Toys wrist pegs, except for these ones, for some reason, they're super hard to rotate. They're super tight, and there's been a lot of moments where I'm afraid that I almost break it. They just feel like they're gonna snap. You can pop the hands on and off real easy, but if you're rotating the wrist pegs, yeah, good luck with that. Mine, for some reason, just take a lot of force to rotate, and it's just very unsettling. I mean, you do get spare wrist pegs. I'm afraid that if I swap them out, they're just gonna be super tight again. So yeah, just be cautious of that, guys, when you get this figure. Moving on down to the torso. He has good ab crunch, and he can lean backwards pretty good too. He's got good waist swivel. He can turn approximately 2.5 notches either way, left or right. So yeah, that's pretty good. He's also got tilt from side to side in the torso as well. Moving on down to the crotch area, he can kick forward approximately 90 degrees. As you can see here, it's almost 90 degrees. He can kick outward pretty good as well. He can almost do the splits. He's also got double bended knees. He can kick backwards a decent amount. He's got thigh swivel, and he's got typical Hot Toys ankle joints. I believe they are ball pegs. So yeah, that's good as well. And he's also got toe hinge. And here you have the port covers, I guess you would call them. They pretty much cover the holes where the spider legs are they're supposed to plug into. I have heard some collectors say that they don't like how they look because they cover some of the antennas or mouth area where the spider symbol is. And I have to agree with that. I'm not a big fan. It does kind of ruin the illusion there. That's only more reason to not have given us those spider legs to plug into the back and just made it just a normal, smooth back. So there you go. That does it for the articulation, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Alright, so moving on to the next category. Alright, so now we've made it to the category of accessories. But before I start talking about the accessories, guys, I gotta show you this awesome pose. Really loving it. I wish I could keep him in this pose, but it's not for the reason that you guys might think that I can't keep him like this because of the suit, the wrinkling and such, and the bunching. It's not because of that. The reason is because he's using the classic suit head sculpt right now. This is not the head sculpt that comes with this figure. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to take him out of that. But yeah, it's really cool, especially with those eyes that he's got. Anyway, getting back to the accessories. Where to start? Because this figure comes with a whole boatload of stuff. I guess we'll start off as usual with the hands. He comes with a total of 8 hands. We'll start with the ones that are on the figure. He's got one fist, and the other one is kind of like this semi-clenched hand. And then you got the right fist here, comes with a pair of them. And all of the hands are in this shiny, glossy finish. And that's really awesome because, you know, that's how they're supposed to be. You know, like symbiote covered material. And when you see the open palms, they look really nice too. The texture and everything, it makes it seem like the suit is alive. And then you got the chevrons on the back. That's pretty much how it was in the game. That's not comic book accurate. They're actually supposed to be squares on the backs of his hands. But, you know, leave it up to the video games to change the designs. It doesn't really bother me, but I'm always going to be partial to the comic book style. And then you get the web thwipping hands. He comes with a pair of them. Again, referring back to the comic book accuracy, this is not how he would thwip his webs when he was wearing this suit. In the comic books, he would pretty much have his fist, and the webs would come out of the squares, the white squares that are on the backs of his hands. I wish you'd be able to do that with this figure, but unfortunately you can't. Moving on, we get these palm pieces. You can put them on the web thwipping hands so you can insert the webs. So you would just take these palm pieces and switch them out with these, and then you'd be able to insert the webs. And speaking of the webs, we get a whole bunch of them, and these are all new designs. I've never seen these before. We get a spiral one, and they all look to be plastic. There's no wired ones. We got this big long one, and they're all painted to look like black symbiote material. And that's another thing that's not accurate to the comic book. In the comic books, they were still white, even though he was wearing this suit. And then you got two short ones, and then one where he's shooting three at a time from one hand. And then you got this big clump of symbiote goo that you can put on the figure's arm to make it look like he's doing a symbiote attack move, which is pretty cool. And then we get the web wings, which are pretty cool. They do magnetize to his armpits, so you can make it look like he's gliding through the air. And they got like this mesh material on the inside, and it's smooth and glossy on the outside. I think it should have been the same material on the inside and the outside, this mesh material. I don't know why they made it this smooth looking gloss on the back, but whatever, you get what you get. And then we get the octagonal base that's typical of all the Spider-Man figures, but this time it comes in a black and white color, and it says black suit in the front, and it's pretty basic. And of course it comes with a flight pole, but I wouldn't put the clamp on this figure, guys, because you're liable to damage the suit. And then we move on to the spider legs, which are huge. I can't even fit them all entirely in frame. And yeah, they're nice and all, and they are similar to the ones that come with the Advanced Suit 2.0. But I believe from what I've seen, these are just a tad bit bigger than the Advanced Suit 2.0 spider legs. I could be wrong. If I am, just correct me in the comments below, guys. But yeah, they're all on ratcheted joints, and yeah, they're nice. But yeah, I'm not going to be using these. They're just going to go back in the box. Because when I played the game, I never used the spider legs when I was in the symbiote suit. I was just using all symbiote powers and attacks, which is something that I think that Hot Toys should have done instead of giving us these spider legs. They should have given us a lot more symbiote effect pieces, like this one. Because you guys remember in the game, he launched all types of symbiote attacks, like tentacles and all this other stuff, to vanquish all of his enemies with. So I think instead of giving us these legs, they should have gave us that instead. This just feels like laziness to me on Hot Toys' part. Just redoing spider legs again. So now we come to the special edition accessory, which is this head sculpt. Like I said before, this isn't the exact head sculpt that comes with the figure. He comes with a normal Spider-Man head sculpt with a red mask. And it comes with this symbiote mask that's forming over his head. Yeah, it's really nice. If I were you guys and I was looking for this figure, I'd say go special edition or bust. There's no in between with this. You'll be missing out if you decide to just go with the regular version. And it makes it even cooler that you can remove the original head and stick another one in there. And it also comes with an instruction manual and a spare pair of wrist pegs, just in case you break the ones that are already on the figure. Which, it's highly likely I will be breaking the ones that are already on the figure, giving all the struggle that I've had to deal with already. So as for the accessories, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Because, like I said before, we could have done without the spider legs, and they could have given us a whole bunch more of symbiote effect pieces. Instead, we just get one and some spider legs. But I don't like that, so that's why it gets a 6. Alright, so that takes care of the accessories. Now we're going to add up the scores and wrap up this review. Okay, so to add up the scores and wrap up this review, guys, this figure gets a 43 out of 60. Not a very good score, guys, I know, but there's just so much that this figure could have improved upon. Like all the paint apps I mentioned earlier, for example, could have been so much better. And then the source information didn't get a very good score either. It's just a lot of factors. Yeah, if only Hot Toys would have provided us with a proper black suited Spider Man from the comic books, I would have been happy. This is still a good figure, don't get me wrong. It could have been a lot better though. Alright, so that's another review done and in the bag. And once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. But until next time, guys, I shall catch you all later on the tube. Alright, bye guys.